Hello, it's Celeste again. Another off the cuff video. I'm calling it Unraveling because it's literally going to be me sharing pertinent things for me, what's happening, especially since my pilgrimage to Greece. And a lot of things have changed, and a lot of things are changing, and just seeing where it leads me to. Because really, the ultimate aim is we are together in this changing world, in this changing, this evolution. And I just wanted to touch base and put this out there. Maybe there's resonance, maybe there's a shared commonality, maybe this leads us somewhere. It's not to have a particular aim and object, it's literally just sharing. It's unraveling in its purest sense. And perhaps next time when I jump on, I will share why that name, because there's a reason why that name became so strong for me. So I think I jumped on 2 weeks ago, 31st of December, and 2 weeks into 2026, so much has changed. And I wanted to share some things that have become very evident for me in this changing. And I'm not talking only about the external changes. As you know, if you've looked at my previous video and the sharing I've done, lots of you have reached out to me that the same thing is happening for you, that as we navigated our way through change, so much is shifting internally. And that changes that almost exponentially makes everything so much more intense, yet also what has come through in the last 2 weeks is so silent, so quiet, so deeply personal. And I think that's really the theme, that what the last 2 weeks has shown me is that as stuff shifts, there's often the need and the desire. And for me, I feel it very, very strongly, because if things change, I want to move forward. I want to change things. I want to throw things out. And trust me, I have done a lot. I have changed a lot in my external environment, in what I do, in how I do it. Yet, the last 2 weeks has also shown me, because of deep emotions that I felt, that there's a time where it's almost as if the change needs to be sacred. It needs to be embodied. It needs to be enjoyed by myself, by ourselves. It has to be navigated at a deeply personal level. It's almost like it has to simmer within us. For me, it certainly feels like that. Before it can change, before I can do anything about it. And in fact, the thought comes to me that as I simmer within the change, and as I'm enjoying the unfolding of this, and trust me, the word enjoying is not in the traditional sense. It's all manskein and rose. It has been tough. But finding my flow in that puts less pressure on me to put it out there or to change things around me, because it almost is a natural embodiment, instead of, it's away from this trying and doing things, and now we have to rethink all of this. Some of the things may need to happen, but a lot is in this timing of, in the silence, and not necessarily silence as in the outside world, almost this space that is cleared up inside for the changes to land. I refer to soul rhythms so often. In fact, I have put out some collateral on soul rhythm, finding a soul rhythm check. But like, this is not a professional video. This is me, or this is not about my work. This is me unraveling and finding flow and seeing if there's resonance for you. So that was very pertinent for me, that there's this period of, and it's almost a conundrum, it's almost a tension between wanting to speak up, wanting to change things, getting intensely, and if I say intensely, immensely irritated with the world, with stuff out there, that, and frustrated with myself as well for not changing quickly enough, and the world, and they almost feel like at loggerheads with where I am, feeling and also know that this is the sacred timing of the lekker kry, the koestering in Afrikaans, where you have that time where you can just like, oh, can I just feel into it, in the juice and in the intense agony of it, almost, of the changing. So when I was in Greece, there was this moment of me, and I want to share this because it's so pertinent. I call it, in my head, I call it the moment of getting on the bus. I was doing a lot of things, and I was walking. I was in Athens and experiencing a lot, and it was all the sights and the realizations and the pilgrimage sitting in me. But I was, and I'm not going to talk about a lot, but I was having, for the last almost year, I've had a hip and a knee injury that has severely impacted a lot of my movements and the way I've actually moved. And that particular day, it became so incredibly agonizing to walk. So, and here I was on this pilgrimage, and I almost thought that, well, I cannot even walk another step. It became so incredibly excruciatingly sore. And here, right as when I looked up, there was this traditional touristy hop on, hop off bus. And part of me was like, no, there's so much to do in terms of the deeper work that I wanted to do. Because here I'm in Greece on the soul journey. And there's this hop on, hop off bus right there. And I just walked up to it, and they were leaving in a minute, and I just paid, and I got to the top because it's a double-decker bus, and there I sat. And it was one of the best experiences, not because, yeah, it was informative and it was highly insightful to see some of the stuff, but just that moment where my body totally said, oh, at last, she's just sitting down. She's sitting on, doesn't care if it's a, because I had judgment. Now I'm doing a tourist thing and I don't want to do it. And it was one of the best moments, going through the streets, sitting at the top, feeling, and actually, maybe next time I'll share that it was a very incredibly decisive moment that happened because I got onto that bus. Of course, it always happens like that. You know, it always happens like that, that one thing leads to another. But as I was on that bus, there was an incredible, a decision that changed basically the whole course of my journey in Greece. One decision that happened whilst I was on that bus. And if I hadn't been on that bus, it wouldn't have happened. So you can see this whole unfolding, but it was just that moment where I needed to pull back and say, let's just make space. And there was the space and the opportunity to find soul rhythm, which I didn't think was soul rhythm to get on this bus, but it was the best soul rhythm. It was the most perfect soul rhythm to just get onto this bus and just finding spaciousness and finding opportunity, not looking for it, just being obedient to this is what this moment is calling for. So that's really what I want to share. The past 2 weeks has been, and I know that for people close to me, it's been incredibly, maybe very hard, because yes, there was frustration, there was anger, there was irritability, there was pulling back, there was moodiness, there was like all sorts of things that is not in my best behavior. And there was also this beauty of just, and still is, finding the flow within me before it needs to change around me and before everything and everybody has to change for me. It is really that spaciousness, that silence, that finding that rhythm in that moment, finding the silence, the timing that I do not have to push. Yes, I can feel the resistance in me, or I want to. And just say, well, no, now it needs to simmer. And being aware that it cannot simmer forever, being aware that simmering makes it more alive. but just being in that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. These videos are not for solutions or answers or steps. It's literally sharing and really giving voice to perhaps life, perhaps change, perhaps just being here. That's all I'm going to say for this week. So thank you, or for this time. Still not sure how it will unfold. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you wherever you find this. I honor you, and I honor this life. I honor all the changes in all of us. Bye for now.